They say silence is golden, but out here in Iron Valley, it's more like oxygen. The kind of silence you only find when the nearest Starbucks is 60 miles out, and the only neighbors who'll drop by are elk, cottonwoods, or a moose convinced your solar panel is a personal scratching post. That silence, it's sacred. After years of dodging IEDs and choking on desert grit, there's a kind of medicine in the whir of bees, the smell of clover, and the way old wooden gates groan under a prairie wind. I didn't just buy this land. I bled for the peace it gives me. 120 acres, fenced, powered, irrigated, watched over by cameras, and every inch earned. Iron Valley Acres. Not a name from some developer's brochure. Just what I burned into the sign with a torch and too much coffee. Shaking hands be damned. It's not much if you crave manicured lawns or pastel HOA newsletters with cartoon birds. But to me, it's heaven. Off-grid livestock, rainwater barrels, solar banks, and a mutt named Whiskey who takes border security real personal. That morning, I was out there patching fence after a windstorm knocked things sideways. Nothing serious, just a couple metal posts out of whack and one stubborn calf with escape artist dreams. I was humming something tuneless when I spotted a black luxury SUV rolling slow along the edge of Meadow Pines Estates, the suburban metastasis creeping up on my north fence line. Meadow Pines was all designer living, hedges trimmed to military spec, people so allergic to labor they hire folks to clean the barbecue. The SUV parked, and out stepped the queen bee herself, Karen Hofmeister, HOA president, cashmere sweater in desert heat, and a woman who once told my delivery guy he was lowering the tone. She stood there like I was supposed to curtsy. "Mr. Briggs," she called, clipboard ready for battle. "Do you have a moment to discuss some community concerns?" I finished tightening wire, wiped my hands on my jeans, and leaned into a fence post. "Not really, but since you're already trespassing, shoot." Her nose crinkled like prairie air was beneath her. "The HOA has received several complaints regarding olfactory disturbances coming from your property." "Olfactory? You mean cow smell?" She nodded, stiff as cardboard. "And also visual, barbed wire, unpainted sheds, industrial equipment. Your operation disrupts the aesthetics of Meadow Pines." I looked around. Clover, cows, blue sky, the works. "Ma'am, this is a working ranch," zoned AG. "My cows smell like cows. That shed's not unpainted, it's rust-colored. And this," I tapped the fence, "isn't HOA territory. You got no jurisdiction here." Her eyes narrowed. "We're inviting you to a discussion about community standards. There's a subcommittee forming to address adjacency nuisances and transitional buffer concerns." I laughed, couldn't help it. "That's a lot of syllables for 'we don't like your farm.'" She exhaled like I'd insulted her Pilates instructor. "Declan, your property is visible from 5 homes. There are concerns about disease vectors. And the razor wire, barbed wire. I cut in, razors for prisons, barbs for cows, and Lexus drivers who don't listen." She recovered faster than I expected. "We'd appreciate it if you'd beautify your perimeter and limit livestock exposure during peak hours." I put both gloved hands on the rail. "Let me make this simple. I don't answer to your board, your bylaws, or your taste in fences. This land is mine. If your neighbors can't stand honest work, plant more hedges." Her blink told me I'd hit a nerve. "You're refusing to cooperate." "I'm refusing to buy into your fantasy that your HOA's leash reaches across my property line." She studied me with a smile that said, "This isn't over." "Very well. There are other avenues." And just like that, she marched back to her SUV, tires flinging dust over my boots. Whiskey trotted up, sniffed, and let out a low growl. Smart dog. Later, I found a letter in my mailbox. HOA letterhead, legalese like proximity obligations, visual pollution, unregulated animal density. I didn't finish reading. It burned fast in the wood stove. That night, beer in hand, I listened to coyotes bicker under a sky so clear you could stitch or iron by the stars. For a moment, it was all mine. But you know how these things go. Silence never lasts. Next morning, I was fixing the east solar inverter when I heard official tires crunching gravel. A county vehicle, 2 men, 1 young deputy, 1 guy in a yellow vest, environmental inspector. "Mr. Briggs?" The deputy, couldn't be older than 25, badge said Reeves. "Got a complaint from Meadow Pines about environmental violations, waste disposal, livestock, water discharge." "You serious?" "Just routine," he shrugged. Tell your source, I said, that filing an EPA complaint against a solar-powered, rain-filtered, certified ranch is like tossing a marshmallow at a tank. Deputy Reeves chuckled. The inspector just frowned. I gave them the grand tour: solar pumps, sealed septic, composters, UV gray water, every certificate laminated on the wall. Inspector was almost mad at the end, not at me, but at whoever wasted his time. Reeves hung back, glancing at my chicken coop like it might be radioactive. Off the record? He asked. Depends. Your place is cleaner than our precinct. You ticked somebody off bad. Karen Hoffmeister, I said. Last week she came with a clipboard. My cows offend her sense of suburbia. He whistled. She called us last year, said a boat trailer parked near her bird bath was a biohazard. I remembered the cameras. Every inch of Iron Valley covered. Not paranoia, just experience. Alone on 120 acres with bad knees and worse memories, you learn to trust hardware. I pulled up footage. Karen, phone out, filming the pens, muttering like she was auditioning for Dateline. Unregulated waste, pollution, toxins and runoff, I showed Reeves. Can I get a copy? Absolutely. When they left, the inspector had nothing to write but exemplary standards. I figured that was it. It wasn't. 2 days later, county zoning truck. Different guy, older, grumpier, anonymous tip about illegal outbuildings. I handed him every permit. He still measured my barn foundation like it was Area 51. Then came USDA, fire marshal, health inspector, every agency short of the National Guard. Each time, I had the papers. Each time, Karen had shown up beforehand, phone out, muttering, recording. I sent footage to Reeves. He stopped replying after the 4th batch, probably buried in paperwork. Then Thursday, sheriff's lights on the hill. Reeves again, looking worn out. Declan, you need to file a report. What changed? He played me body cam. Karen's voice, clear as church bells, on a 911 call. There's a farm, burning waste, acidic smell, hazard, barrels, smoke. Please hurry. He played another video. My camera, same timestamp. Karen, waving burning newspaper at my compost pile, trying to make smoke for her phone. Then she coughed and ran off like she'd inhaled napalm. False emergency report. Want to press charges? Hell yes. Good, because we already arrested her. Caught her bragging in the HOA WhatsApp. Another member turned her in. They booked her on false reporting and malicious abuse of emergency services. She made bail in hours, but the mugshot wiped the smug clean. That night, I tried to sleep, but deep down, I knew it wasn't over. Didn't expect her to go full tilt, though. 2 nights after her release, Whiskey wouldn't stop growling at the fence. Not a coyote. Security footage showed Karen at the fence at 2 a.m., bathrobe and slippers, hanging a porcelain doll from the post. Then she turned, looked right at the camera, tilted her head, smiled. Not her usual smug, but something else, something broken. I sent the screenshot to Reeves. Document everything. Do not engage, he said. That was just the start. Next week, spray-painted signs along my road. Biohazard. Cow piss equals cancer. One nailed to my no trespassing sign, so hard it split the wood. Cameras caught Karen, black SUV, always her. Then the fires. First, a hay bale, caught in time thanks to the heat sensor. But the message was clear: vengeance now, not complaints. By then, Meadow Pine scrubbed Karen from the website. I ran into Philip, a neighbor who jogged by. Yeah, they suspended her. No statement. Just vanished. She doubled down. A week later, a thick envelope. A petition, demands to remove Iron Valley Acres. Pages of signatures, some real, some forged, including from a guy who died 2 years prior. I filed a defamation suit and handed it to my attorney, Marisol Vega, tough as boot leather. Legal gears turned, but the harassment kept coming. My workers got threats. One's truck keyed. Another found a note. Go back to town or get burned. Someone tried pouring bleach in the cattle trough. Whiskey's bark scared them off. Graffiti even appeared on the HOA's own sign. Stop the farm. Cleanse the land. Karen had formed a cult-like committee for neighborhood purity, complete with website, drone footage, graphics of disease vectors, and a claim that I was smuggling mutant pigs. I don't even own pigs. I reported it, sent screenshots to Marisol, who just shook her head. Then, 3:30 a.m., sirens, real or recorded. blaring along the fence, setting off cattle and dogs. I ran out, rifle in hand, heart pounding. But it was just noise, psychological warfare. Thursday night, 11:47 p.m., barn sensor trips. Camera feed shows 3 figures in hoodies, one slower, carrying a red-lensed flashlight. I zoom in, Karen. I didn't call the sheriff. Not this time. Grabbed the Mossberg, slipped out the back, whiskey at my heel. I flanked east, low and quiet, caught voices, poured on the straw near the shed. Faster. Karen's voice, urgent. I popped up, shotgun raised. Hey. One dropped the duffel, ran. Another froze. Down. Now. He dropped a crowbar, hands high. Whiskey chased Karen, who tripped, face planting into the dirt. I zip-tied the crowbar guy. Whiskey stood over Karen, just close enough to keep her still. I called Reeves. Voice changed from groggy to stone in a second. By the time 2 cruisers arrived, I had one tied to a post, Karen wrapped in a horse blanket. Third intruder gone. Deputies found a map of my property, hand-marked weak gate, dry straw, no camera. Karen sat handcuffed on a bucket, muttering about infecting the ground. The crowbar guy? Brett Connolly, HOA treasurer. HOA funds paid for the hardware. Fire marshal confirmed the canister was kerosene, the straw placed to torch my hay barn and fuel shed. If I hadn't caught them, half my place would have gone up. They read Karen her rights. She raved about stopping the infection. I didn't feel triumphant, just finished. Done with patience, done waiting for the system. Courtroom next. I walked in with a binder full of evidence, footage, receipts, forged docs, and a screenshot of Karen stuck in my fence. She was there, lawyered up, cardigan and all, eyes darting. Prosecution laid it out: trespassing, arson attempt, criminal conspiracy. Then came the kicker. Karen's husband bought a burner phone to fake a fire report, pulling patrols away just long enough for her to strike. They traced it back, his prints, his cash, but he wasn't arrested. Not yet. Defense tried for psychiatric condition. Brought in Dr. Grayson, who'd been paid by the HOA to consult on Karen. Under cross, he admitted he'd been aware of her obsessions, knew of her actions, but never reported. The judge ordered an independent evaluation. 2 weeks later, diagnosis: paranoid delusional disorder, obsessive control fixation. Karen was committed, barred from coming within a mile of Iron Valley, and led from court in restraints. As she passed, she whispered, "I stopped the infection," and smiled. You'd think that'd be the end, right? Not even close. 2 days later, Marisol called. Court-approved subpoena just dropped the HOA's dirty laundry. They paid for everything. The duffel, bolt cutters, maps, burner phone. That's criminal conspiracy, embezzlement. It wasn't just Karen's madness. It was institutional. Deposition season. Philip, the jogging neighbor, flipped first. I thought it was scare tactics, he said. 3 board members quit overnight. The HOA tried to wash their hands, but too late. Civil suit, criminal inquiry, the works. Turns out HOA dues had bought drones, fake sites, web hosting for a smear campaign. Final hearing. The judge barely raised his voice. HOA dissolved in 90 days, assets forfeited, 3 board members sentenced, $1.2 million awarded to me. Didn't feel like winning. Felt like crawling from tornado wreckage. I built the guest house I dreamed of, housing for workers, a real kitchen, space for visiting vets and students. The rest went to fencing, sensors, a legal fund, and a 5-acre strip at auction, used to be Karen's backyard. It's pasture now, with a handmade sign, "No Karen Zone." Peaceful land for peaceful minds. You'd think the story would die down, become a local legend, whispered at county fairs. But the opposite happened. People came, bloggers, law students, a survivalist YouTuber who kept crashing his drone. I leaned in, offered tours. Know your land, know your rights. Folks drove in from states away. Classes on rural law, farming, boundary disputes. Some brought their kids to pet goats. One day, a state senator showed up, said my case inspired new laws. Montana now has statutes against false HOA calls outside jurisdiction, and property owners like me got new protections. They named it the Briggs provision. Not bad for a guy who just wanted to be left alone. These days, farm's quiet again. Whiskey naps on the porch, the wind runs wild, and I drink my coffee before sunrise, listening to a place that finally feels defended. And every time I pass that sign at the pasture gate, I smile. No Karen zone. That alone, worth every fight. So tell me, what would you have done different? Was I right to push back? Or does the real danger start when neighbors stop acting neighborly? Drop your thoughts below, right or wrong. I want to hear how you draw the line.